the show, everyone. I have Stuart Spencer here with me from Advanced Ear Care. He's going to tell us about some tools, tips, and tricks and tech that can make a total difference in the way that people hear.
Boy, that's for
this
sure.
Is so important.
Yeah, it really is.
Unbelievably important.
And people always think about the hearing aid, the device, that type of thing. But there's a lot of other things that we have besides just the hardware that goes in their ears.
Right.
That's so important to really maximize the performance of their hearing. So we have these accessories. This little device here is called a Perfect Clean. It's an amazing device. You just put the hearing aid in there at night. It's like ultrasonic. It cleans the whole thing out. We have wipes. We have like this foam, the little drops people put in their ears to get the wax out. All that's the same. This is a new foam. You squirt in there. It just dissolves it. It's the best thing that we've ever seen. Yeah. So, we've had the same stuff for a long time. So this is really an outstanding product. Little gels and wipes and just wax guards and just different items that they can come in and stop by. And anybody, that, has a hearing device, and it really helps them to keep them clean. It's so important to keep the ears clear and the hearing aids clean. The performance is just substantially better. So all these little things help, and they're not very expensive.
Even if people aren't wearing hearing aids and they get the wax buildup, it still almost kind of throws off their equilibrium. They can't hear very well. They get grouchy.
Yeah, it plugs them up. The other thing that's really popular with wearing hearing aids is having a little bit of an itching ear.
What causes that to it?
It's just the contact in the ear with a different foreign device in it.
Does the body eventually get used to that sensation?
Some people it does, but others, need these little drops for itching ears, and we put them in there, and it just soothes that.
Okay.
And so they really enjoy that a lot. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the best.
Wow.
So because they want to get in there.
Just so important to keep both the inner ear clean and the hearing aid clean.
Exactly.
Right.
So then you've got the healthiest environment for the best performance.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're investing a lot of time and money and energy into these
People spend
hearing
thousands
aids.
on hearing aids.
Well, and now that technology is really advancing the hearing aids, isn't it even more so important?
So, now more than ever, there's a huge separation. 3 or 4 years ago, the over-the-counter hearing aids came out and everybody thought, oh, that's going to be great. We can spend, a few $100 and get a hearing aid and it'll work really well. Well, all those are just the same. They're not working. They're just, all the performance is about the same. But now, the major manufacturers have invested millions, tens of millions of dollars into the artificial intelligence performance in hearing aids. And it's just separated, those kind of performance levels from the stuff you see, in magazines or on TV, so much more. So the performance has really got substantially better. And of course it would, right?
Right.
You invest the money, you do the right thing, and always want to help the patient to hear better. And the outcome is there,
I would suspect that the over-counter ones probably pick up all background noise as well as just trying to have a conversation with somebody. So is it hard to differentiate when you pick up something that's just off the shelf versus something that's custom tailored?
Yeah, you've nailed it. You can't, they don't have any best separation for background noise. But the thing is, they don't fit, they squeal, they're awkward, it's just, their sound's not, quality's not real high tech or very comfortable. So, they have about a 70% return rate, so it's just what it is,
So if you get one of the newer ones that's built with AI intelligence, artificial intelligence within the hearing aid.
That's right.
Would it, if you go to a restaurant situation and there's, let's say you're out with your family.
Sure.
You've got 6-8 people at the table.
Yeah.
You can't hear any of them, but you can hear everybody else.
So with these hearing aids, you walk into an environment like that, in like 300 milliseconds, it turns off the back microphones.
So
it drops all that noise, and so you can hear better in front of you.
Wow.
And focuses, on those speech patterns a lot more effectively.
Right.
So that stuff is
and
just
that just
amazing.
totally helps
So it's
keep
just speech
you,
clarity,
Yeah, and keeps you in the conversation.
That's it.
Right?
These
Rather
people
than
feel
just sitting
so
back and going,
isolated. Right.
Because you can't hear anything.
That's right. And they feel so isolated.
Yeah.
It's so sad to see.
Right.
So now we have the performance level that can really conquer those
How
kind of just scenarios. Yeah, it really is exciting.
So
I never thought we'd see this stuff. In my 45 years of doing this, I mean, we used to just crank them up and hold on like those others. And now it's just, they're faster, smarter, sharper. You know, it's just amazing to see what they're doing with this technology. And
It's
people
really
love it.
exciting to
Easy to
watch.
adapt to it. They just put them on, they wear them, and they hear better.
So take us, Stuart, through the process of, is somebody like, okay, you know, I've been told enough times, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
what, and
Yeah.
or the person is saying that to somebody who's talking to them. What would be sort of the starting point of you recommending somebody coming in, getting a test,
Right.
and then subsequently from that point?
Yeah, so you know what's
to
really
fitting.
great is, you know, we just make it really easy. You know, I mean, we offer a free exam. You know, they can just
Okay.
come in, you know, we look in their ears, we put a little camera in their ear, and they can see inside their ear up on a TV monitor. So we can see if it's wax, they can see if it's wax. Because a lot of people
Really?
think it's wax and it's not. You know,
Interesting.
and so they can see it all the way down to their eardrum. And then, of course, you know, what we do is it's just really simple, Bree. We just read them a list of words, say, let's just see how you're hearing just the way you are. You know, and we just have them close their eyes, read them a list of words. It's like, how do you think you did on that? It's like, oh, I think I did pretty good. It's like, you missed 60% of those words.
No way.
And they're sitting like this, right? In a quiet room with my good voice. And I'm like, wow. You know, so we test their hearing, see how they're doing, and then we just put hearing devices on them. You know, program them right away, through our software, and change their hearing, and then read them another list of words that are just compatible with the first list, and they're up at like 92% instead of 40%.
And they had no
They're
idea.
like, oh my gosh, I never knew. Because here's the thing with hearing, is you only know the way you hear. You don't know how
Right.
much better you should be hearing.
Right, well, yeah.
And so
how could
people
you?
with major hearing loss think they have normal hearing, and they don't. And of course, everybody around them knows they don't, but they don't know that until we change it, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. You know, so then that's how we do it. And then, you know, we talk about price points and technologies and, you know, different types of things, but then they know they can hear better and the light goes on. So it's really a simple process, and we have a great program to do it.
What would you say to those people who are the ones that are constantly saying, one more time? What?
Yeah.
One more time? Who don't feel like they are at the point where they need a hearing aid?
Yeah, well, they're way past that point when they're doing that. You know, they're probably 7 years behind.
And they're telling the speaker that their voice is soft.
Right, you're mumbling.
Yes,
You know? My
yes.
wife mumbles all the time. You know, we hear that one all the time. Or they just don't speak. You know, these kids talk so fast. You know, all that stuff.
You talk
Yeah.
away from me.
Yeah, and if you're saying that, you should have your hearing checked. You know, and come in. You know, let us just do the full evaluation. Then you know, and it's okay if you decide not to do anything. It's okay, but then you know. You know, and you have a baseline, you know where you're at, you know what's going on, you know what the difference is. And so, you know, at least you're aware of what the options
aware.
are. Yeah, and then typically, you know, once they experience better hearing, you know, it's like better vision, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so much better.
So much more
it's just
clarity.
really obvious, you know, that what the right thing to do is.
And also, Stuart, with the hearing aids these days, I mean, they're virtually invisible, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, you know, mine, right? I mean, you know, they just fit up and over the ear.
I would have never known.
I mean, they just come up, you know, people
That-
don't even know, you know, you're wearing
No.
them. I
You
mean,
can't see it at all.
right, and the other one's that way. So, you know, the cosmetic thing is really gone. The performance level is much higher. You know, it's just a great time for people to experience that kind of level of hearing. You know.
Absolutely.
We can transition to hearing.
And you can operate those via an app on the smartphone. Is that right?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I answer my phone, I hear it in both hearing aids. You know, I mean, my phone's out in the lobby now. If I got a phone call, I can click my hearing aid and answer it and say, hi, Bree. Oh, hey, how you doing today? You know, and just have a
Fascinating.
phone conversation, you know, but it streams, you know, music, podcasts, voicemails. And so there's no more like speakerphone where everybody's hearing it, you know, and it's this awkward situation.
So those have replaced the iPods.
Oh, big time.
For the
Well,
wearers.
we had them before the iPods came out, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, nobody needs an iPod for that. It's so much more effective because it's made for your hearing, right? The iPods are just a standard, you know, type of performance.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. It's really been a lot of fun
You
to
must
show
really
people these.
enjoy this role to really help
It's
people.
so much fun.
Oh,
yes,
Stuart,
no,
it's always such a
satisfying and-
pleasure having
yeah.
you on the show.
Always.
So much knowledge. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Bree.
Okay, see you next time. All right, folks, coming up next, we've got O'Connor Mortuary, so stay with us.